I don't think it's a secret where I stand on the ongoing Billy Mitchell dispute turned present-day legal proceedings. In fact, perhaps I should introduce myself as the face of this fabled Team Billy, because that Twilight-inspired turn of phrase was simply the hashtag I created to promote a stage musical comedy 2 years ago. Team Billy is not a militia of strong-arming, lawsuit-happy bullies. We're not brainwashed, we don't have weekly meetings, we're not on a life-changing money payroll system, and we don't have a crush on the man. Team Billy was simply the hashtag I began on Instagram leading up to my first meeting with the King of Donkey Kong. The Team Billy that people on the other end of this dispute now seek to disarm and destroy is a creation purely in response to imbalance. Friends and fans of Billy Mitchell that would identify as part of Team Billy have taken our identities simply to combat the massive imbalance in our YouTube suggested videos. Let's be honest, if you Google Billy Mitchell and cheat, you're not going to find much from my perspective on this issue, but rather a litany of accusations and increasing absurdity demonizing a man who has made his career being the equivalent of a pro wrestling heel for old video games. Before I lay out some of my thoughts and points on this debacle, I need to clarify. I don't speak for Billy Mitchell, his legal team, or his family. I would never presume to do so because, frankly, the legal team that Billy Mitchell has on his side is much more worthy for concern and trepidation from the other side than this idea of Team Billy. With that said, after some of the most recent developments in this internet barrel slinging, I've come to a point where I need to use my voice as a storyteller and a friend to the OG King of Kong to make these points on a grander scale than the comment section. So allow me to present to you, the internet, my redemption of Billy Mitchell. As an artist and a friend, I value loyalty and the courage to speak up for those who have spoken up for you, even if you're in the minority online. So this is something that, although I had zero interest in becoming a gaming drama correspondent for YouTube, I felt I had to do. If you don't know who I am in relation to the most noted villain of classic arcade gaming, you're probably not alone. I have 40 subscribers on my personal YouTube channel and only 20 more that follow my budding podcast. I am a playwright from the Midwest, and I suck at almost every video game I've ever touched. I will, however, destroy you in Pokemon Snap. I participate yearly in a local theater festival called the Indie Fringe, and I'm the artistic director of my own small repertory theater company. Fringe Theater is a worldwide network of niche new theater on the fringes of society. Most every city throughout the world has a fringe festival. It's fringe theater that has been my lifeblood since I was 17, not Donkey Kong and flag ties, but rather my lifelong dream of creating a piece worthy of a fringe festival tour. And I thought my 5-man Donkey Kong Scandal musical could find a happy home under this umbrella. My point being, I am a playwright, not a gamer. I say all this to clarify how and why I've approached the Billy Mitchell dispute, as I've found my approach to analyzing evidence is quite a bit different than the forum rants and the 156 pages pasted on a windy and hard-to-navigate website. So, before you make up your mind that anything has been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt, I encourage you to approach this drama from my unique perspective as, well, a play. And start to look at the characters that have appeared on the internet stage, and the character of those characters. By some grace of moxie, insomnia, and perhaps obsession, I did manage to secure a flight for the fallen King of Kong to Indianapolis to attend the upcoming premiere of Arcade Fire. Just before Billy's arrival, I was walking Mass Ave, the street that houses the festival, and ran into the Indie Fringe director who conveyed to me her concern about the show I was about to open. A then unidentified man had been contacting the box office of Indie Fringe and leaving threats for Billy Mitchell, asking just how much security would be present at the Midwestern Theater Festival. And that was my first introduction to Tim Serby, whom I've now come to call the Forgotten King. Tim makes a habit of loudly screaming his complaints focused on the documentary King of Kong, A Fistful of Quarters onto the internet.
Tim feels, and yes, a bit rightfully so, that this film has stolen his very history, with the implication that Steve Wiebe was the first man to take on Billy Mitchell's 2-decade-standing Donkey Kong world record. At the time of King of Kong's filming, Billy Mitchell was no longer the Donkey Kong world record holder. But, for sake of telling a clean, concise, and palatable story, that's not what the documentary that follows a middle school science teacher on his quest to defeat a villainous hot sauce mogul in arcade classic Donkey Kong would want you to believe. And that alone is not even the problem here. While Tim Serby may have, at one time, had a point, obsessive ramblings for years on Twitter have turned the fallen king into a joke. Phrases like life-changing money, referencing Tim's false perception that both Billy Mitchell and Steve Wiebe were paid beyond handsomely for their appearance in a small-budget indie film, is among the literal memes that have become par for the course when discussing Mr. Serby. But it's all in good fun, right? Wrong. Tim is a man who I perceive to be obsessive, delusional, paranoid, and mentally ill. Where things may have started with humorous rants on Twitter, they've ended in death threats, live on Twitch. Not last week, Tim Serby appeared in John McCurdy's Twitch chat with messages about how he would like to attend the upcoming Kong Off 8 in the Jersey area, where Tim lives, with a gun to blow away both Billy Mitchell and Steve Wiebe. And I don't think he was talking about in Donkey Kong. This escalating behavior that is going unnoticed or even laughed at could kill two men with families. If it's hate coming to Billy Mitchell, the classic arcade gaming community chalks it up to melodrama of simply flinging your tomatoes onto a perceived bad guy. But these are planned death threats coming from a man who's been obsessed with a 2007 film that has gone from memeable content to calling Midwestern theater festivals to now detailed death threats. Tim is now, of course, banned from all future Kong Off events, including the one he threatened to bring heat to. And I would hope that people in the classic gaming community would take this from me as an observation of concern for a man's deteriorating mental health and a call to safety for both the Mitchell and Wiebe families. It's time to stop using Tim as a harmless joke. It's not funny anymore. In this next segment, I had to make the decision of overwhelming information and exposition, or a highlights reel. These two are so actively treacherous, not only to matters and pertains to the flag-tied founder of kill screens, but to gaming and the integrity of it across the board. Meet the liar and the preacher. We'll start with the sticky referee I've dubbed simply as the liar, Robert Mursak. What's unfortunate about Mursak is simply the fact that he represents a cornerstone in the literal foundation of Twin Galaxies history, and that's the status he's rested on in the shadows while his outright lies have grown into a deep-set cancer that I would venture to say has spread so deeply into the Twin Galaxies body that it can't be removed. The Twin Galaxies scoreboard and referee system has stage 4 Mursak cancer, and I think we're terminal. Mursak is consistently changing his own story, backpedaling on posts, making threats on players he frankly just doesn't like, and outright lying to achieve his own agenda. Don't worry, I knew you'd want a physical example, so here we go. On October 4th, 2019, The Preacher we'll be talking about later in the segment released a video containing stolen footage of Billy Mitchell's 1999 Perfect Pac-Man game, a game on a tape that Twin Galaxies or Twin Galaxies owner Jace Hall never fully has shown to the public. I've always had my own suspicions on why that is. I mean, we certainly remember the viewing party Hall hosted for the Donkey Kong tapes, right? Simply stated, I believe that showing a clean Billy Mitchell tape to the Twin Galaxies audience gave the man a shred of credibility, which I'd venture to guess is the opposite of Jace Hall's play strategy in this game of poking holes in Mitchell's history. I'll discuss Jace Hall in a later video, but for now, back to the ballad of the liar and the preacher. So, on Dwayne Richards' October 4th video release, he asserts firmly that he received the tapes containing Mitchell's Pac-Man record from the trusted TG referee from the movie, none other than one Robert Mursak. So you're telling me that one of the trusted voices on the Twin Galaxies forums is just passing out record submissions in the property of Twin Galaxies organization to people who have made their moralities known?
Who's the best player? I am. Am I making this shit up? No. Is this the way we do things around here? Yeah. You're out of line, you fucking cocksucker.
Well, no. I'm not actually so sure. Let's rewind and use Robert Mursak's own words against him. In April of 2018, before the preacher brought the Pac-Man tapes into the light, Mursak is found commenting on a thread on the Twin Galaxies forum wherein users were beginning to discuss the validity of Billy Mitchell's Pac-Man scores. Mursak weighs in some thoughts, but also states that he passed on the tapes to Brian Koo to take to New Hampshire and store way back in 2007. But wait, I thought Dwayne just calmly borrowed some VHS tapes from Mursak, who always had them in Twin Galaxies custody, right? Roberts never contested this fact either. In fact, he went on to back it up. I suppose he forgot that forums have better memory than human users because Mr. Mursak months prior admitted that he was no longer in possession of the tapes. Then he shows up to aid the babbling preacher in what I can only assume is a cover-up for how Dwayne actually got the tapes. If this was a one-shot for Mursak, maybe I could see how people could skew this as entry-level villainy, but Mursak's rap sheet is literally so long, I had to ask my sources to cut this scene short, for time. Some examples include suggesting that scores in question could just be rounded down to alleviate any issue in his findings and avoid making any changes to the old guard standings of fair and honest twin galaxies, being so corrupt that people literally have taken up the phrasing of scores being Mursacked, meaning that if Robert doesn't like you, is caught lying, or frankly just wants to shake shit up, your scores could very well just disappear. Claiming he has a mysterious Donkey Kong cartridge that literally plays different and removing scores from players who were not playing on his one-of-a-kind Donkey Kong cartridge. Doing an official interview in front of an anime porn collection, and much, much more. Leave yours in the comment, maybe I'll make a supercut and include your favorite slobbert stories. In a way, the Mursak cancer is symptomatic to the imbalance of the dispute reporting these last 2 years and the common perception that a 2007 film is more fact than storytelling. We unfortunately met Mr. Mursak as the chief ref, as the guy you call to review a tape, as the authority in what's right and wrong in video gaming, but this introduction was more movie magic than truth. Unfortunately, the liar has been allowed to coast on a glowing legendary status reputation that he's done nothing to deserve. The Preacher, also known as the self-proclaimed bad boy of retro gaming, Dwayne Richards has a habit of playing piggyback with other villains. Where the gaming community seemed to view Billy Mitchell as the thinking man's villain, a Lex Luthor, if you will, Dwayne is viewed more as the neighborhood punk keying cars throughout the arcade community block. Volatile, easily manipulated, hypocritical, and dangerously defensive, Dwayne tends to like to work in teams. I would assume this is to avoid ownership of his actions and hopefully the resulting repercussions. Dwayne has received piggyback rides from Billy Mitchell. In fact, he uses this long since dead connection as citation to just how there he was, which I guess is a way of fact-checking his claims. He was there, therefore he is right and he is truthful. We've seen Dwayne take a ride with Robert Mursak in this section of the video. We've, I guess, seen him bum around with Jace Hall, though Jace certainly has asked for the removal of Dwayne's videos detailing their tete-a-tetes. He's recently been seen praying and fangirling for Apollo Legend, who will be making an appearance in a later video, and yeah, I think you get the picture. If Dwayne can ride your coattails while asserting he's better than you, he's gonna do it.
I am committing fraud.
I hope in our discussion of The Liar you were picking up what I was putting down about Dwayne's assumed ownership of Billy Mitchell's record submission tapes, something I truly hope Twin Galaxies is held accountable for in the upcoming legal proceedings around Billy Mitchell. I think to do a full analysis of something, you should probably have ownership of it at the time of the analysis, but hey, call me crazy. Anyway, back to The Preacher. I dubbed Dwayne the Preacher because he uses the mask of his spirituality and upbringing in the church to create a persona that is holier than thou and righteous. On video, Dwayne is often calling for a return to morality and honor in classic gaming. Then, when the webcam goes off, he's harassing Billy Mitchell's educator wife at work.
Lakeman said I was harassing Bill's wife at work or whatever, and I thought, the fuck are you talking about? I sent her one email.
One day, he could be saying a prayer for arcade healing, and the next he could be threatening his elders for kicking him out of the clubhouse due to his own bad behavior. There are times he wakes up ready to take our questions, till we ask him one.
Why make Jory? Why, 'cause she's a fucking stupid bitch, that's why. She's fucking dumber than a sack of hammers and can't fucking think, that's why. You want to know the truth? You're a fucking moron. Go make another movie, you know, and do a colonoscopy up fucking Bill's ass, you fucking retard. There, is that a good enough answer for you?
Dwayne is a constant contradiction and disruption, and he's certainly not kept savory company in his time. He seems to struggle with why he's been all but ostracized in his community that he, on some level, clearly cares about, but he refuses to tell the truth or peacefully answer our questions on his ill-gotten gains. Instead, he'll preach his righteousness to anyone who will listen, teaming up with other retro Morlocks, and continuing to default on loans and credit card payments so that he can continue to cobble together merchandise and poorly made YouTube films to continue to preach his scriptures. Hey, thanks for watching. Like most transactions I have with Billy Mitchell, I thought this was going to be a one and done kind of video, but I'm starting to see it's going to have to be a series. So if you enjoyed this and if you're listening, I appreciate that. And please tune in for part 2, which will be called The Waffle and the Weasel. Thanks for watching.